Phails at philosophy.
Because the question is this, like, and it's a question that I think he introduces well. Like, you look around at the world, you experience the world, and then you notice that there are like more fundamental aspects to things that are not apparent, right? He uses the example.
Chariot.
Right.
Is
Well,
that right?
even before that, where this is just the basic question of like, you realize that there are bones underneath your hands. You realize there's a pit in the fruit, right? And those seem to be, a more fundamental structure to the thing. So I think that's kind of the thing we notice is that there seem to be ways in which this, whatever it is we experience, let's call it reality, right? This reality we experience has more fundamental natures than others. Certain aspects of it seem more real. It's a weird thing to think about, but if you're asking the question, what is the nature of reality? Unless you're just like gesture around, you've got to have some theory of what of the things we experience are more real than others. And I think that's part of what happens is we do at least experience our concepts as better at grasping how things really are than others, right? And we can treat that as an epistemological question about the nature of knowledge, but behind that is more the even in epistemology, when we're trying to figure out the nature of knowledge, we're trying to understand something that's beyond our mind.
What is solid?
What is it, that thing we're trying to understand? What is the world?
How do you actually grab something to understand it?
Right.
If once you grab it, you can peel back a layer and a layer and a layer and a layer. And that's where we get to, does reality have a ground? Where do the layers end? Is there a core?
And when you say, what is solid? How do we grasp things? What you're really echoing is a substance metaphysics, a substance epistemology, where there's a notion that what is most fundamental is substantiality, that there's some substantiality, some quality of existing that makes something real, that makes it different from things that are, say, imaginary.
Yeah.
And that's your kind of traditional Western metaphysic, is that notion of a substance ontology, that like there's something we call substantiality that is the beingness of something. That ends up being a much more complicated theory to defend, right, in the long run.
Oh my goodness.
Than you would think at first, because it's very intuitive. And there are, that's really Aristotle's ontology, is then to investigate the nature of substance, and it shapes medieval thought for the Christian West. It shapes medieval thought for much of the Islamic world and the Jewish world, and really shapes up modern metaphysics like Descartes, where he will ultimately go with a dualistic understanding of the nature of reality, that there are two substances, right? There's mind and there's body. And then what characterizes the substantiality of body? For Descartes, the substantiality of body is characterized by extension through space. So
extension through space, meaning it takes up space.
It takes up, it occupies.
It has volume.
Right.
And then mind, metaphysics.
Mind, what characterizes
ontology is
for Descartes, its substantiality is freedom.
Freedom.
Right. And that's rooted in the meditations, in the fact that when he walks you through in his meditations, what you get to as the thing you can be sure of about yourself is that you can assent or not to ideas that you're presented with. You can either say that's real or not. Like that freedom to choose is actually what character. And I always find that an interesting way to think about substance, but he's trying to
be able to discern
and make a decision
is
what makes
metaphysics.
What makes the mind a thing, and a different thing than the body for him. They're not operating within that at all here, right? I mean, the most, even ancient Indian schools of thought have various metaphysics, right? And there's a substance metaphysics in most schools of thought, because I think it's, on a certain level, it's the most intuitive, right? For many of us, is that what's real is space.
This chair,
right?
This what's in the room,
right?
What I can see, feel, smell, touch.
Exactly.
What I can use my sense perceptions to interact with.
Right. And then he gets to, says, so kind of if you're operating with even that kind of intuitive sense of a nature of a reality, you've got this question then like, well, what part of it is the substantial part? And when do I have a thing, right? It's not just, what's the nature of this, but how do I know that this is a thing and it's separate from that thing?
Talking about wholeness versus
right.
parts.
And then you've got parts. We notice that many things are composite. So can we get it down to some basic composite elements? That's what gives you early automatism, right? The idea
carbons
that we have
atoms.
These fundamental atoms, these fundamental units. Of course, that's a place we end up in the West looking at, right, with the atomic theory of
physics.
Matter. Yeah, but then of course that gets shattered with subatomic physics. We no longer have them as the basic units of matter.
Got another ground.
And then when we get into this other ground, in subatomic physics, things are wonky. The particles that we have, the subatomic,
they can change shape,
they can change
location.
They don't seem to actually occupy space. Like there's all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
That then that presents for this traditional cosmology. But I think the question here of just sort of how things layer into what is real and what's not. So, when you're looking at the car, is it really a car, or are the wheels really the thing that come to, like
where does the wholeness lie?
Where does the wholeness lie?
Because
when do you have the thing? Is that the thing, or is the thing the wheels come together to make this other thing? And can you get to some fundamental thing that's there?